Big changes are coming to U.S. Army aviation. The U.S. Army recently selected M1 Support Services to oversee its Flight School Next pilot training program. As part of that program, future Army aviators will get their initial flight training in the Robinson R66. How does the program work? Why the R66? Let's get some answers.
First thing is, it's the biggest helicopter program, really largest fleet, highest operating tempo, and obviously it makes a huge impact on Army aviation and how they prepare pilots for the future. Our role in it is very humble. We make the workhorse that they use to do the training in the aircraft, but there's backed up by a really great team of folks that do the ground training, the simulator training, and ultimately the entire system management. So we're proud to be part of the M1 team that's making this all happen.
So we'll talk about the relationship between M1 Support Services and Robinson. How did you guys get to this point?
Sure.
And then how do you proceed from here?
So a really long journey. They visited us maybe a full 2 years ago with the strategy. As soon as the idea was even being floated of this program with the Army, they saw it as an opportunity for their growth. They were very committed early and fully committed to Robinson as their aircraft for the training program. Other players also feature our product, but sometimes as a part of the solution, different strategies for different types of bidders. Ultimately, M1 Services had a phenomenal, authentic knowledge of the flight training program with so many of their leaders coming out of Army aviation. And so top to bottom, their team was full of those that really cared and went through the journey themselves and wanted to build the very best aviator for the future of Army aviation.
Can you talk about the scope? How many aircraft are we talking about? How long is the contract? How many aviators are we helping?
Yeah, so it's 26 years. It'll be somewhere between 20,000 and 40,000 pilots over that period that will produce in support of the U.S. Army. It could be quite a bit more as the Army's environment and threat change over the years. So we expect this to be the planning horizon, but it will change over time. In terms of aircraft, it has a range of aircraft that could be delivered between 150 and 200, kind of in that range, and it will be a unique variant of the aircraft. So we spent a lot of time working on a product that meets the unique Army requirements. It takes our R66 and all the key drivetrain running components and adds elements to it to make it capable of instrument flight, which is a hard requirement that the U.S. Army wants for operational ease in the region they operate. And ultimately, it's going to be a great thing for the commercial fleet, too, to have a future instrument-rated pilot operate an R66. It'll be the lowest cost way to fly and operate IFR in a helicopter platform. So we're super excited about that.
Man, what a convenient segue. Can you talk about why do you think the R66 was chosen for this role?
Yeah, I think we had a really great trial. We had a year where we did a pilot program in collaboration with Helicopter Institute, where they did a ton of training for aircraft. They trained 48 pilots, and they were able to do a side-by-side comparison of how they progressed after their training in the R66, and they compared them with those that trained in the Lakota. And it was a great demonstration. It also showed the capability of this aircraft to hold up to high operating tempo in a training environment. But I think the things that made a huge difference in this program, one, I can tell you that we are the most accessible and available team in all of the helicopter industry. To have the CEO at the phase 2 briefings, I was there for multiple of them when we had multiple partners. I think that made a difference. We were the only ones from the OEM side that had their CEO there. I also think it makes a difference that the aircraft itself, the attributes of the product, built as a dominant workhorse in agriculture, flight training, tourism, and charter. It's the lowest cost to operate, the lowest cost to acquire. Ultimately, it provides a extremely simple maintenance schedule so that the product doesn't have big interruptions while you're going through your main kind of primary flying. So all those things played a role, but I do think that the unique partnership with M1 highlighted it's simple, it does the mission really well, and it's not going to create drama for the training program, where in many aircraft programs that can be a problem. The aircraft can actually create the biggest sticking points for the program. This is not going to be the case for the R66.
Do you think the R66 offers advantages in terms of just basic stick and rudder skills?
Yeah, I think the Army made a really impassioned pitch that they wanted to return to stick and rudder skills as one of the big drivers of fleet safety, of the ability for pilots, and when all things go south in terms of a battle and a conflict, that their instincts can actually keep the pilots and crew safe and keep the mission successful. I think that's what we know we'll achieve with the 66. The stick and rudder skills were particularly cited as a huge advantage of the platform that we offer. A straightforward, not highly automated, very thoughtful primary aircraft.
we've had a lot of conversations about the massive growth Robinson is experiencing right now. And we were having those conversations long before the Army contract came through.
Yeah.
So how are you viewing management of that growth?
One of the great things about what we've built here at Robinson, really over the last several decades, the size of this program sounds huge to a lot of people, but it actually lives inside of the demonstrated capability of Robinson. We've delivered as high as 900 aircraft in a year, and so ultimately, this still is well within our demonstrated capacity and capability. The team here is hungry. They want to get back to those numbers, to 1,000 aircraft a year. They'd love to exceed the previous record. So I think the hunger and the capacity are all there. We actually did that 900 ship year with less facility than we have now. So we've grown more, we've added more people. We're definitely capable of this program from the delivery side, and then the bigger area that we want to focus is on keeping these aircraft flying for many, many years to come. So the 26 years, really we think it's just the beginning. This could be a 50-year franchise of Army-based training programs around the world.
And there's a lot of focus on the aircraft itself, but the ability to support the aircraft and the proven ability to keep an entire fleet, a vast fleet in the air.
Yeah.
I bet all of that kind of keys into why R66 was chosen.
It's a huge part. I think it made the generals who we hosted and many of the acquisition folks that made their way through here, they saw parts on the shelf. That's not a thing that exists in a lot of the just-in-time mindset that's been pretty pervasive in aviation. We don't believe that as a good business practice. We invest in our inventory. It is our fuel or our ammunition to actually fight the wars that we need to fight as a business. So for us, we have parts on the shelf and basically everything that the Army will need to keep this aircraft supported, we already have in ample quantities here. Lead times are at their lowest they've been in the last 5 years, really since the pandemic began. And we are confident that's just the beginning.
Obviously, the contract is getting all the air in the room, but what do you think that means further down the road?
The Robinson ecosystem of pilot creation today, which actually is the basis for the instructor pilots that will be used to train these Army aviators over 26 years. This is a whole new avenue for lower time Robinson pilots to see a very clear next career step for them as they progress on into other careers later. But they can go fly to support the Army training program. They fly higher IPs directly, and they need Robinson qualified folks. So I think that's gonna be a great initial story. But to your point about the long term, folks graduating from the Army training program at Rucker will then turn into Army aviators for a career. At the end of that, we know we will have product that they can use to start small businesses, to become the engine that drives vertical lift into the next generation. So we're super excited about getting these product into the hands of our future customers down the road. What's important for all of this is that Robinson sees the opportunity to fill critical roles all throughout the vertical lift industry. This was one we saw 3 years ago as a potential opportunity. So we focused on it and we closed it, and so we're gonna go execute it now. But there are other opportunities ahead of us, and we are just getting started.